I activate Mystical Space Typhoon! Fire!
What's up guys? Welcome back to Toon Duelists. Today we give you an update to our Radiant Typhoon deck profile. Because obviously in Burst Protocol this deck got some amazing new support that straight up made it meta, and it is actually now my go-to tournament deck, so bye bye Mitsurugi, welcome Radiant Typhoon. Now of course I know we already had another set by the time this video is up, but I just wanted to really test this new meta deck before I present you my build. And of course also test hands, basic combo and Nexus-Replays. So yeah guys, I still love Radiant Typhoon. I loved it when it first came out. A whole deck archetype just around MST. It's just amazing. So I'm really happy I bought this deck because we'll talk about that when we come to the price section of this deck. But anyways, amazing deck, really powerful. I just love everything about it. If you want to skip straight to the deck profile, you can do it down with the chapters. And if you want to learn more about the lore, artworks and all this stuff, just stay there. I'll go through the 5 categories next, of course. Before I skip to the deck profile though, don't forget to like and subscribe. This would really help us a lot. It's one small click for you, but means the world to us, of course. So let's start with our 5 categories, and the first category is, as always, concept and lore. Now, we don't have too much lore for this archetype, but obviously it is based around MST, one of the most classic cards you can imagine. And obviously all the monsters of this archetype are based on mythical creatures that are associated with storms in any way, so let's go through them. First up, we talk about Radiant Typhoon Swen, which seems to be based on Sun Wukong. Now, not only some storms are named Sun Wukong, but Sun Wukong is also known as the Monkey King from the Chinese novel A Journey to the West. Now, besides inspiring figures like Son Goku or Monkey D. Ruffy, obviously, he also has like 1000 different attributes and skills, and one of them is also manipulating storms. He also fights with a very long staff that can change the size however he pleases, and is often depicted with a Hagomoro, this like cloud scarf we can also see in the artwork of Sven, obviously. Next up, we talk about Radiant Typhoon Megala, which is based on Mekala. Mekala is a Cambodian goddess associated with water, storms, and she also has a mystical stone that can create lightning and thunder. Obviously, the artwork of Megala also shows her controlling thunder and lightning. Then, of course, she's the only female, and of course, Mekala is also a female goddess. And also, she has the Hagoromo, which can be interpreted as a sign of divinity. Next up, we have Radiant Typhoon Eldam, which is based on Demre. Now, also some storms are called Demre, but it is also the Cambodian word for elephant, which we can clearly see in the spell Radiant Typhoon Ascendance. Next up, we have probably the most important monster of this archetype, which is Radiant Typhoon Crocea, which is named after Croza, which is the Cambodian name for crane, so the artwork explains itself. And it is also the typical name for 5 tropical storms in the western North Pacific Ocean. Next up, we have Radiant Typhoon Varuran, which is named after the Hindu goddess Varuna. Now, first up, she is known as the goddess of the heavens, but later on in the mythology, she was also the goddess of rain, rivers, and water in general. This also, of course, becomes clear in the different artworks of Varuran we have, and also in Mandate, of course. Next up, we have Radiant Typhoon Phoenix, and you guessed it, it is based on a phoenix, or rather a thunderbird, which can also be seen in the artwork, if you ask me. Now, while the name clearly sounds more like phoenix, and you would think it is the firebird we probably all know, its powers lean more towards the thunderbird. Because thunderbirds are known to control weather, storms, lightning, and they can create thunder with the beat of their wings. So basically, in the monsters of this archetype, we have all aspects of a real storm right here. Rain, thunder, lightning, and of course, wind. So when it comes to the concept, I just love the fact that really MST, or a storm in general, is in the center right here, and all the monsters have great inspirations and just fit perfectly and don't lose the center, which is the classic MST. Next up, let's talk about the artworks. Now personally, I think the artworks just nail the concept amazingly. Now we already talked about how they are based on Cambodian or Hindu goddesses and other mythical creatures in those cultures, and I think the backgrounds, the colors, also the depiction of clouds and stuff just fits those cultures and the old paintings you know from those cultures perfectly. Also, a thing I just love about this archetype is how we can see all the level 3 monsters in different spells of those archetypes, how they gain their divine power and turn from regular humans to half-gods, I think? Or maybe they just gain, like, divine powers, because in my opinion, Crocea is a perfect example for a half-god right here. She's half-human, half-crane, it seems, and yeah, just fits perfectly as the middle stage between the level 3s and the level 9s. Because Varuran and Phoenix go full god mode, if you ask me. They have nothing human left to them, and in the lore, I guess, it could actually be that the level 3s, so the humans, praise those gods of wind, thunder and weather in general. So, also the artworks are all about the main theme of this archetype. Storms, mystical space typhoon in a way, but I just love this spiritual inspiration it has. We go from the level 3s, regular humans, to Crocea, a half-god, to the level 9s, full god mode. Of course, this is just my interpretation, but definitely let me know what you think about this one. Next up, let's talk about the playstyle. And also right here, we have MST obviously in the center. Now, of course, it is not only MST. All the quick play spells of this archetype can, by the way, search MST, so it is kind of in the center, but those quick play spells are the bread and butter of this deck. All the level 3s of this archetype can easily be special summoned, because when your opponent doesn't control any spells or traps, so basically if you go first always, or if you have MST in the grave, you can just straight up special summon them. And they work as searchers and extenders, and the great thing about it is that you don't need most of them during your opponent's turn, so they are perfect material for Link or Xyz plays. Now, the higher level monsters of this archetype can all special summon themselves from your hand when a quick play spell is activated. Crocea is the key card of this archetype. On summon, it can search 2 cards, which is just amazing. One of them has to be MST, but you want MST, so no problem right here. And the level 9s also can special summon from the grave once MST, specifically MST, is activated. So gods can rise from the dead. I think we have a clue right here, right? After they are on the field, however you summon them, they work as negates or of course as interruptions. So those are the only ones you actually want to keep on your field. Now Crocea can also work pretty well. When your opponent controls some spells and traps, he can't be pushed over by battle or by card effects, so that's nice, but usually you want to keep the 2 level 9s on the field. Another thing that makes this deck so powerful is Mandate. Mandate gives you a once per chain negate whenever MST is activated. So it's just a huge negate power, also draw power. You can just recycle all your quick spells and then have a draw. And also, of course, this deck pairs well with any quick play spell you can imagine. And since we have a current meta where Droplet or the Fallen and the Virtuous are regularly played and are very powerful cards, of course, this deck does not only profit from those strong cards, but also just from them being quick play spells. So in general, I love the playstyle of this deck. The combos don't take too long, you have a lot of interaction, and they are just easy on the field. Even if you get nipped, let's say, it usually isn't that big of a problem. Love the playstyle right here and very interactive. So, in conclusion, it quickly builds boards, very easy, you usually don't even need your normal summon. It has great negates and disruptions, and because of the draw power, it is also often used as an engine in other decks. And of course, in the grind game, the draw power you have from cards like Mandate is just insanely good and keeps this deck running and running and running. So the playstyle, guys, I just love it. And this of course brings us to the next category, which is power level. And guys, what can I say? This is completely meta right here. Last time I checked, 10.24% of the current meta is Radiant Typhoon. It's the third most played deck actually, and is just short behind decks like Dracotail, for example. It can also counter a lot of decks because of the spell trap shooting you do all the time basically. Of course, its recycling powers that I already mentioned, the use of great quick play spells, and of course, of the fact that you can run cards like The Fissure or Lava Golem in them. So yeah guys, a completely meta deck. If you go to tournaments regularly, I'm sure you've played a lot against this deck. It's just very powerful, completely meta right here. And this brings us to the last section, which is price. And oh boy, I'm so happy I wanted this deck, not because it's good, but because it is an archetype that revolves around MST. I just love the idea, so I got it right when it came out. And boy, that saved me a lot of money. Now, if you want to buy the deck core, I'm talking no hand traps, no things like Called by the Grave. I even excluded Fallen and the Virtuous and the extra deck monsters you have to play because of that. You still have to pay around $180. And guys, that's a lot. I mean, I remember times when meta decks were way more pricey, way more expensive. So, okay. But if you just say, hey, I want to buy this deck, I think 180, yeah, that's pricey. I included cards like SP Little Knight, which is around $8, and other pricey cards of this archetype are, for example, Radiant Typhoon Chant, around $7, Swen, around $12, and the most expensive card is actually Crocea, which is $25 per copy. Now, as I said, I excluded non-engine. There is some non-engine you don't really need. I'm gonna talk about that in the deck profile, but yeah, overall, you have to say you get a powerful deck, a very fun deck, a very interactive deck, but it has its price. Alright guys, so I'd say without further ado, let's dive into the deck profile. Alright guys, as always we start things off with the monsters, and the first one we talk about is Radiant Typhoon Eldon. Amazing card right here, definitely a 3-off, because this one has the effect that all level 3s have. If you have Mystical Space Typhoon in your graveyard or your opponent controls no spells and traps, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon it once per turn, and this one has also the effect that if this card is normally special summoned, you can add a Radiant Typhoon monster except itself or a Mystical Space Typhoon from your deck to your hand. Guys, it's obvious, it's a searcher, so easy special summonable too, like all the level 3s are. Amazing card, definitely a 3-off. And because it is so amazing, we also run the next card, which is Noble Knight's Shield Bearer. Pretty amazing card with the effect that you can banish this card from your hand or field to add a level 6 or lower Wind Beast monster from your deck to your hand. The other effects don't bother us, it's easy as that. You banish it from your hand to search an Eldon. That's all you do. And amazing card, just a 4th copy of Eldon basically. Next up, we also run 3 copies of Radiant Typhoon Swen. Amazing card right here. Same summoning conditions than Eldon has, but this one has the unsummon effect, on normal or special of course, that you can add a Radiant Typhoon spell or trap or an MST from your deck to your hand. So Spell Searcher right here, obviously also a 3-off. And I personally also run 1 copy of Radiant Typhoon Megala. Now I've seen profiles that don't run it at all. I can see why, actually, to be honest, I side it out most of the times, but it's still an amazing card. It has the same summoning condition, but also the effect that if a Radiant Typhoon quick play spell card or an MST is activated, you can special summon a Radiant Typhoon monster from your deck with a different name than the monsters you control, but you're locked into wind monsters for the rest of this turn. Now, obviously, it is a great extender. This one is also actually the only level 3 that can do something during your opponent's turn, and the extending is amazing, but we basically or typically only have 2 monsters we want to extend that are easy special summonable from the hand and the graveyard. So you don't necessarily need this card, but if you already have Crocea in hand, for example, this one is a great one to search with Eldon, for example, but 1 is definitely enough in my opinion. Next up is the most important card of this deck, which is 3 copies of Radiant Typhoon Crocea. Amazing card right here, with the effect that it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect while your opponent controls no spells and traps. Also, if a quick play spell card is activated, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Radiant Typhoon card, except itself, and or 1 Mystical Space Typhoon from your deck and or graveyard. Also, you're locked into wind monsters for the rest of this turn. This one just straight up searches 2 cards. I don't think I have to mention more. This is insanely good. This is the card you always need and want to get to. With some new spells, we can even bring it out during our opponent's turn, also with Megala, for example. So we even have those searches not only during our own, but also during our opponent's turn. Amazing card. You have to play 3, even if it is pricey. This is not the case for the next card, which is Radiant Typhoon Phoenix, the Great Flame. Here you definitely only need 1. This card has the effect that if a quick play spell card is activated, you can special summon it from your hand. And if a quick play spell card is activated, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls and shuffle them into the deck. And if an MST is activated while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it. So, very easy special summon from the hand, also easy special summon from the grave. I mean, activating MST is not a thing. And then shuffle back 2 is just amazing interruption. Also, with 3000 attack points, it's your go-to beatstick of the deck. Amazing card, but you can search it out, so 1 is definitely enough right here. And the final Radiant Typhoon card we play is 1 copy of Radiant Typhoon Varuron, the Vibrant Vortex. Also, love this card. For its effect, I think the artwork is not too great actually. I like the other Varuron more. But anyways, it has the same summoning conditions as Phoenix. Quick play spell from hand, MST from grave, but this one has the effect that when your opponent activates a monster effect and you have MST in your graveyard, you can negate the effect, and if you have 2 or more Mystical Space Typhoons in your graveyard, you can even destroy that monster. So it's a monster negate no matter where on the field, which is obviously amazing. Actually, your go-to level 9. I think this is way better than Phoenix. Phoenix is great, don't get me wrong, but if you have to choose one of those, always go for Varuron right here. Then for non-engine, well, kind of non-engine, we run 2 copies of Sheena Twin Tempests of Celestial Thunder. Amazing new card, also from Burst Protocol, which has the effect that the first time this card will be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a wind monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand and then apply the following effect based on what was activated. If it was a monster effect, return all face-up monsters on the field to the hand, except this one. If it was a spell trap, return all spells and traps on the field to the hand. This is obviously an amazing hand trap for this deck. I already explained how you don't really need the monsters on your field that much. The level 9s, okay, but once their effects are used, they're basically also useless and easy special summonable from the hand. So if you bring this one out after you use their effects, it is just a complete board wipe. Amazing card right here, but you only need 2. The draw power in this deck is so heavy that 2 are really enough. You can also choke on this card, so that's why I recommend really only playing 2. And we round up the monsters with non-engine, more non-engine, and of course we play 3 Mulchami Fuvalos. I guess you know what it does, I don't bother explaining this one. Amazing card, obviously giving you more draw power than you already have with this archetype. Now, I'm not maining Ash. I'm going to show you the side deck actually this time, but I'm not maining it at the moment. Ash is obviously an amazing card, but I think you can easily side it in if you need it. In my build, I don't main it. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and we'll move on with the spells. So, for the spells, we start things off with 3 copies of Radiant Typhoon Vision. Amazing card that has the effect that if this card is destroyed by MST, you can set it. Also, you can search MST with it. By the way, those 2 effects are shared by all quick play spells of the Radiant Typhoon archetype. Also, you can not only add an MST if you want to, but you can also draw 2 cards, and then if you have a Radiant Typhoon card or quick play spell in your hand, discard one of them or your entire hand if you don't. It's just draw 2, discard 1. It's amazing. You can play this in their draw phase, so you're safe from drill. Amazing card, you just have to play 3. This is your go-to consistency card right here. Next up, we also run 3 copies of Radiant Typhoon Chant. Same 2 effects than Vision has, but this one can search you a level 4 lower Radiant Typhoon monster. From your deck, obviously. Now, just also amazing card. You can just search whatever combo piece you need. Eldam, Swen, Megala, doesn't really matter. Amazing card, and obviously a 3-off, because it can work as a starter. Next up, we run 2 copies of Radiant Typhoon Ascendance. Also an amazing card, a new one from Burst Protocol actually, and this one, despite the other two effects, has the effect that you can special summon a level 6 or lower Radiant Typhoon monster from your graveyard. Now this effect is actually also pretty insane. You usually go through Crucia in your first turn. If you link it away and you have Ascendance, you can bring it back during your opponent's draw phase, have the Search of Crucia again, which is just amazing. Combined with an MST, let's say you use this in your own turn, MST it, then it resets itself and you can use it again to bring back Crucia. This card is insanely good. I see a lot of profiles only running one. I think it is so good that you can run two. Of course, you can search it, you can't always use it, so that's why I run two and not three. But yeah, in my opinion, I think two is a good ratio, but I have to mention, if I side, I usually side one. But only one. Always keep one Ascendance, it's really a great card. And for the last Radiant Typhoon quick play spell, we run one copy of Radiant Typhoon Manifestation. Despite the other effects, this one can basically just foolish any Radiant Typhoon monster. Now, great obviously for your level 9s, setup, and once you activate MST, you can bring them back from the grave. Amazing card, but not as good as the others. And if you side, you can really side out Manifestation. You don't necessarily need it. The level 9s are so easy special summonable, you don't need to bring them out of the grave. I think it's still a great card. I want to have the ability to play it because going first you can use this to further set up your board. So I think one is great, but you can search it out. I've seen deck profiles running no copy of this one. I don't think that's a wise choice, but let me know what you think about it in the comments. And next up, we run a card that is technically not a Radiant Typhoon card, but it kind of is. We run 3 copies of MST. Of course we do. MST, amazing card. You can't have enough actually. You can never choke on them. You can always use them in one way or another. It's just an amazing card. I guess you know what it does. I don't bother explaining this one. Just an amazing card. Definitely run 3. And for other non-engine quick play spells, we of course run 3 Forbidden Droplet. You have to play this card. You have to play this card in this deck. It's so amazing. With all the quick play spells we run, you can just break boards entirely. You, let's say, chain 3 quick play spells in your draw phase, then go Droplet and negate the whole board of the opponent. It's an amazing card, no doubt about that. Just run 3 copies of this. There's no other ratio. And we also run 3 copies of the Fallen and the Virtuous. Also an amazing card. I was lucky I got this when the structure deck came out and it was cheap. It is not cheap anymore. Amazing card. It basically just lets you pop 1 face-up card on the field. That's all it does. Now, the extra deck monsters, you can go for a cheap version, you can go for a pricey version. I'll talk more about that when we come to the extra deck, but still, it is just an amazing card that searches itself, kind of. A staple in a lot of meta decks, but of course Radiant Typhoon can make double use of this quick play spell. I also run 2 copies of Super Polymerization. I love this card. Again, the fact that this is unchainable is so huge. You have the space in your extra deck that you can play Super Poly, no problem. It's an amazing card. Depending on your matchup, it's one you can side out. I'll have to talk about the Fallen and the Virtuous when it comes to siding too, but we'll come to that when we talk about the side deck. Amazing card. I think it's way better than Forbidden Crown, actually. I know Crown had a lot of hype, and I have to be honest, a part of why I'm not using it is very expensive. But I think Super Poly does a better job, actually. My opinion, let me know what you think about this. I think forget about Crown, rather play Super Poly. And obviously, I also run 1 copy of Called by the Grave to be hand trap safe. And the fact that you can recycle Called by the Grave is also just amazing in this deck. Definitely run this one. And for the traps, we only run 1 card, which is Radiant Typhoon Mandate. Love the artwork, the only good Varuran artwork. Now the Link monster is okay too. Amazing card right here. This one has the effect that once per turn you can target 3 quick play spells in your graveyard, including a Radiant Typhoon card, and apply the following effects in sequence. Shuffle them into the deck to draw a card, and all wind monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. So there you go, recycling and draw power, amazing. But the best part is yet to come, because once per chain, when MST is activated, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects. And also if this card is destroyed by the effect of MST, you can set it. This card gives you up to 3 negates of face-up cards on the field. It's just insane how powerful this is, but you can search it out. After Burst Protocol we have a searcher, so you don't need more than one, but this is also a key card of your strategy. You have to have this on your end board, or let's say you have to bring it out during your opponent's turn very early, because we can do that too. And guys, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we start things off with the card that made this deck meta, which is Radiant Typhoon Varuron the Marine Eidolon. Hope I pronounced that right. Amazing Link 2 monster right here, with the effect that on summon you can add an MST from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Also, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a Radiant Typhoon monster you control, and place them face-up in their owner's spell and trap zones as continuous spells. And if a quick play spell card is activated, you can place a Radiant Typhoon continuous trap from your deck or graveyard face up on the field. So this one can bring out Mandate, it searches MST on summon, it is even great removal, going second for example. Yeah, just an amazing card actually. The main thing we need it for is, of course, searching Mandate, but obviously also the MST search is nice. You need 2 Radiant Typhoon monsters for this one, so you can't just use any wind monsters for example. But honestly, this is never a problem. You have to run 2 of this one. Once you get stuck in a situation, when it gets negated, anything you want to have a second copy. I've seen people playing 3. Actually, I never needed a 3rd copy so far, so I say play 2, but it is an amazing card. Next up, we play 1 copy of Win the Wind Charmer Verdant, or Verdant. I don't know. Actually, a classic right here needs 2 monsters, including a wind monster, and has the effect that you can target a wind monster in your opponent's graveyard to special summon it to your zone this card points to. If Fuvalos was played against you, this is actually a great one to go into a Link 3. Also, if this Link summon card is destroyed by battle or destroyed by an opponent's card effect while in its owner's monster zone, you can add a wind monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck. So you can also just, run into something to have a search. It can extend. It's a great card. It doesn't come up often, but yeah, you have the space in the extra deck. So yeah, why not? Speaking of generic wind link monsters with the why not effect, the next one we play is Greatfly. Needs 2 wind monsters and has the effect that all wind monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense, and earth monsters on the field lose 400 attack and defense. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a wind monster in the graveyard and add it to your hand. So you can also just run into something to have the add back, or of course, just push your wind monsters. Again, this one did never come up actually, but yeah, why not? The last Link 2 monster we play is pretty basic. 1 SP Little Knight, just an amazing card, can help you in some sticky situations. Watch out, this is a dark monster, so if you use Crocea or Megala, you can't use this one, but yeah, you know what it does. Next one, our only Link 3 monster is Hrelsvelger, I hope I pronounced that right, the Desperate Doom Eagle. An amazing card right here. This one has the effect that it gains 2400 attack while your opponent has no monsters in their graveyard. And quick effect, you can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard to shuffle it into the deck. Now, this is not only great disruption and graveyard destroying, also during your own and your opponent's turn as a quick effect, which is also pretty good, but also you can bump this up to 4800 attack points, so it can also become a huge beatstick. Amazing card right here. We also have some Xyz plays right here. We, for example, run 1 copy of Totem Bird. Needs 2 level 3 wind monsters and has the effect that during either player's turn, when a spell or trap card is activated, you can detach 2 materials from this card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This card loses 300 attack while it has no material. Just a spell trap negate, what can I say? Amazing card, definitely run 1 of this. And the next one I run is 1 copy of number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. If you don't know what it does, it is basically a monster negate, because it has the effect that once per turn when an opponent's monster activates its effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card, and the activated effect becomes both players draw 1 card. The other effects don't bother us. Now, I've seen a lot of people don't play it at all. I think that's risky. Nib is not played much in the current meta, I totally get that, but it is still out there, and this one makes you nib-proof before your 5th summon. Now, I can totally see why. Both players draw a card, you give a draw to your opponent, but you also negate an effect. I think it's a great card. Yeah, in my opinion, run one, but definitely let me know what you think about this one. The last Xyz monster is 1 Typhoon right here. You know, emergency exit. I guess you know what it does. I won't bother explaining this one. Next up, we have the Super Poly lineup. We also, of course, run Mud Dragon right here. Also, I guess this card is known. And also Garura. You should know what this does. I don't bother explaining it. Just your typical Super Poly targets. And because Dracotail is a thing, we also run 1 copy of Mysterion the Dragon Crown. Now I know Secretarion is probably the better option, but I think actually this one is also pretty insane. It needs a spellcaster and a dragon monster, and it can be used as fusion material. It loses 100 attack for each of your banished cards, and if a monster uses its activated effect to special summon itself or a monster with the same original type, you can target one of those special summoned monsters, banish that monster, and banish all monsters from the field with its same original type. So also this one can be pretty heavy against your opponent actually. I see why people play Secretarion, but I think Mysterion is actually a cheaper version and also a very good card. And finally, for the Fallen and the Virtuous, we run 2 copies of Albion the Branded Dragon. Well, if you send this with your Fallen and the Virtuous, it has the effect that during the end phase, you can add or set 1 branded spell or trap from your deck. So if you use this one during the end phase, add or set another Fallen and the Virtuous, basically. It just recycles itself, that's pretty amazing. And because I don't want to spend that much money on a Synchro monster, I play 1 copy of the Dragon that Devours the Dogma. It basically does the same than Albion. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can add a Dogmatica or Tri-Brigade card from your deck to your hand. So you just add another Fallen and the Virtuous. Now, obviously, if you want to spend that much money, and if you already have it, you should play the new Ecclesia Synchro Monster. Because this one is a shuffleback, it's a good card, but I have to say, it rarely comes up. I've played a lot of duels with this online on Nexus, and I don't know, it maybe came up 1 or 2 times, and when it came up, it didn't save the duel. I was already winning even without it. So, yeah, I don't know if it's worth that much money. I decided against it. If you have it, definitely play it, but yeah, that's just my humble opinion. And guys, that's it for the extra deck. Alright guys, the first time I talk about the side deck, I think. In my side deck, I have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring right here. I guess you know what it does, I don't bother explaining it. Ash is still a great card. I see a lot of deck profiles maining it, I can totally see why. I was also thinking about like siding to Super Poly and Manifestation for Ash. I'll have to do more testing, but so far I went great with just siding it in. Going first and going second, this card is obviously great, but yeah, if you don't main it, you have to side it. Then I also side, of course, 3 copies of Lava Golem. In this deck, you don't need your normal summon, and it's nothing more satisfying than just tributing 2 of your opponent's monsters for a Lava Golem. I just love it when that happens. Amazing card, you have to run 3. Going second, this is your best board breaker. Going first anyway, you want to play 3 copies of Dimensional Fissure. Because Radiant Typhoon doesn't really need its own graveyard. If you activate this at the end of your first turn, your opponent is screwed most of the time. They don't have their graveyard, and if they run, let's say, MST, they have to use resources to get rid of this card. Just amazing. Definitely side this in when you're going first. It is just amazing. Then I still hold on to 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I know, Droll is on 2. It's not that powerful anymore, but I still hold on to it. I think there are decks that heavily lose to Droll. Mitsurugi, for example. And in those cases, this is just an amazing card. Then I also run 1 copy of Spellbound. Actually just run it because the 3rd place for Droll. Spellbound is a great card though. If you use this, all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls can't be used for Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link summons until the end of this turn. And it's a quick play spell. So this card is definitely not bad, don't get me wrong. But as a one-off, I mean, you can run it. It's a quick play spell. You never lose with it in Radiant Typhoon. But yeah, you don't really have to run this one. And I round it up with 3 Lancia right here. Malice is still a thing. I don't see it often, but it is, and if it is, Lancia is the perfect counter. Now, Double Cyclone is obviously the better choice, I just don't have it. So that's why I play Lancia. If you have Double Cyclone, definitely run this one. And yeah, guys, that's it for the side deck. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely leave a like and a subscription. This would really help us a lot. It's one small click for you, means the world to us, of course. Then obviously, if you want to learn all about this deck, don't forget to check out the test hand and basic combo video, as well as the Nexus-Replays, so you can see how this deck really performs. And yeah, guys, I'd say until next time, have a good one.